dig up that old fossil.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadebonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And Kenton, we're going to talk about episode 3 of Skeleton Crew, which dropped earlier this week. But first, I want to tell you about a new old TV series I've been watching. You know how I like to revisit some of the old sitcoms and classic series from my youth. Although this one was more from my young adulthood because I've been watching News Radio on Prime. It's on Prime where I'm watching it. And that is, of course, the sitcom starring Kid in the Hall Dave Foley. It was his big American sitcom after the success of that great Canadian sketch show. And it's been a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying News Radio, Kenton. It's a great series. I'm only like halfway through the first season, and it's already great.
Yeah, Phil Hartman as well. And fascist kingmaker Joe Rogan.
Very young. And
I wasn't sure who Rogan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he is very young. And like, this is before he did anything. This is before Fear Factor. This is his first thing. And then Andy Dick, of course, Maura Tierney. The cast is really good.
Yeah.
And I will say in this last episode, I watched both Bob Odenkirk and Norm Macdonald guest starring.
That's right.
In the same episode. And I think Norm Macdonald has a regular recurring bit. I don't know if he comes back, but he's basically Mr. James's lawyer who shows up. And Mr. James, of course, is played by, I can never remember his name, but he's so good.
He is so good. Why can't I ever remember his name?
He's the man in the High Castle. He's in so many other things.
He's in everything. 24, Barry, and yet why can't I name him?
I don't know.
I think that's what a great bit part actor is, though. You shouldn't be able to name him.
It's, you know what, you got a point. If you've been in enough things, because what the ones who are known are really usually known for like one thing and that's it, right? This guy's been in so many different things. You don't know him from one thing, but for a long time, people knew him as Mr. James. And this might be his most visible role, and his name is Stephen Root.
Stephen Root. He gets to Milton in Office Space.
Yes, I was just gonna say that one.
Yeah, that's insane that that's him.
Yeah, he's like a chameleon. He could transform into any character. He's very good. Okay, let's talk about. And has he been in Star Wars? He's been in Star Wars, right? He was in he was like the shopkeeper complaining about the gang in the Book of Boba Fett. Remember that?
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Tied to Star Wars. Remember the crew, the gang, the scooter gang in the Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, those mods hanging out with their Honda scooters out front.
But we're watching, I think, a much better series right now, which is Skeleton Crew. So we've got the third episode, Kenton. Okay, so you did like this third episode?
I'll go further and say I loved it. I loved it. It got me. I forgot that I was watching a show. I was enjoying it so much. I burst out laughing at times. I did well. Yeah, I got carried on the wave of the show, and I think a big part of it was Jude Law is fantastic in the role. I think he's bringing something to it now. Now that we have a center to the show, I'm not finding the kids irritating. I'm finding them much easier to take than what I did in the first episode.
I'm finding them mildly irritating still. There's still some scenes of them fighting for no reason, and there's like, I feel like this girl, Fern is her name, is like the Captain Panaka of this crew. She's always like naysaying everything, and like, I'm the captain and I'm gonna do this, I'm in charge, and she's always got some negative to say. She always goes against what everybody else is saying. But yes, I agree. Jude Law is amazing. He's really good. He's bringing something original and interesting to this character. He's kind of like a scoundrel Jedi, but he's not a Jedi, as we learn in this episode. And I like that we learn that. I like that it's not trying to make these things mysterious or mysteries. Like most of the stuff we talked about last episode, it was revealed to be things in this episode. And then we're just moving on to the next thing. We're not like going to dwell on this. Like, we'll find out what happened and why he is what he is. But we know he's not a Jedi, and that was revealed, and now we can just say, okay, he's not a Jedi, right? And that was I like the way that happened.
I do. I liked it too. And he had a Han Solo like way
a bit
of kind of going like, well, I never said I was, and then that's funny stuff. They handled it well. It's not like it doesn't need to be some big moment, but then that raises a whole lot of other questions, and I like that too. I just like the show zipping along. It's throwing stuff our way. It's got tributes to many other things within the show, to Star Wars itself, and then to other franchises. And I saw Lucasfilm shared this week. I saw it on LinkedIn that they said one of the big inspirations for the show was the Monkey Island video games.
Oh,
and I was like, yes, I thought the same thing. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Kind of like all of the ships parked in the dock.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to say is that this is much more visually interesting than The Acolyte. You can see the difference. If you just think back to The Acolyte and how blank and plain everything was behind the characters as they're talking, these boring conversations. This is interesting and vibrant. Even like as we're seeing like the opening scenes of this episode, we start back on At-Aten, and the parents are worried about the kids, right? So we get to see that. But even then, I'm like looking at this building going, this looks like a lot like a regular building here, but it's got kind of Star Wars things to it. So I'm kind of paying attention to those details. And then where they're back at the pirate asteroid or whatever that is, that's so interesting. I just want to like pause and dissect everything happening in this scene when they're kind of trying to make their way out and escape from this den of pirates, which was really easy. And I mean, I love the girl. Katie, I think, might be my favorite character.
Yeah.
Because she always asks the good questions and she says the right things all the time. It's really, really funny.
I like her and Neil the most, just like I did even in the first episode I did. But because you're right, she's the brain behind the operations, which makes her a very useful character. And Neil just makes me laugh. Like a couple times I just laughed at his outbursts, his random joyful or
the way he just stops in the middle, the way he just stops in the middle of the square and just kind of is like, and he has to go back. What's his name, sir? I didn't get his name. Jude Law's character. Jod? He's got a few names actually. It's Jod,
Crimson Jack,
or Silvo. He was being called Silvo as well at some point.
And there was Nodwood.
Nod is not. Yeah, it's Nodwood.
Nodwood. Yeah.
But yeah, he it's sorry, I can't remember what I was talking about there. I lost my train of thought. Much more interesting visually. And it's just again, I laughed out loud quite a few times. There were some really good lines in this.
Some great jokes, some just outright classic Star Wars humor. If you can get some classic Star Wars humor in there, more power to you, which of course The Acolyte had none. It would definitely there was no joy in The Acolyte. It was all depressing. And but this, there's tons of joy. And starting and every time I thought, oh no, this is going to get bad here, it didn't. Like the first time I thought what are we doing this for, is when they go, you need to go back and get the droid. When they say that.
Yes, that's right. I thought that too.
And I was like, no, come on. Like you're ready to go. Like we need to, like, really. But then that ended up being really useful. Now we have a relationship between him and the droid. We saw two other droids there. The battle droid from Phantom Menace going, did we win? And his head falls off. I was like, that's a great Star Wars joke. Did we win? Click. And by the way, there's a droid running and he goes, we must save the prince. Who the hell? What? Yeah. No, the prince.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who? What prince? Who is this? Should we know who that droid is?
I thought it was a reference to something, and I don't know why. Oh. Maybe it's a call out for something else. I don't know.
I'm sure somebody's got to know what that.
Right.
It's a Marvel comic. I don't know. It's something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
I got a kick out of that. And also that is a very well-made tether or whatever. They're attached to the gas line and they're trying to break free. That's a very well-made
fuel line. That's
fuel line, right.
Yes, that's hilarious. Again, some very funny lines.
Great. That is a great joke right there. And delivered expertly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes. I thought that so we start the episode that we're back on that and the parents are worried. And I noticed that the guy says, like, they know the ship left the planet. I guess they have sensors. My question was, how would they know that? But I guess they had the sensors to watch the ship take off and they know it's left the planet. And so the guy says, "Do you contact the Republic for help?" Did you notice that? He says the
Yeah.
Republic, right? Which means he means the old Republic, right? So for these people, I was right. For these people, the war didn't happen. They don't know anything about the Empire. They have no idea what that is. They still think Alderaan. Remember, there was a line in there. She's like, "Alderaan, you missed the war?" Like they don't know anything that's happened here, right? So
Yeah, but is it only because the kids don't know, or is it because nobody there knows?
no, it's because nobody there knows, Kenton.
Oh, you
All
think
these-
nobody?
No,
You
no.
think-
These planets have been isolated throughout the entire war.
So, but you don't think that the adults know what's going on and
No.
are just not allowed to tell the kids?
No, I don't think so. I think the adults think they're part of whatever the great plan or whatever this kid was talking about.
The great work.
Yeah, the great work, which sounds sinister. And
Sinister.
it's never good. It's never good to be called something great. Right? It never works out well. No, I don't think. I think they talk about we're skipping ahead till we get to our owl lady friend, but basically they found out that it's a planet, one of these however many secret planets that were kept isolated, and then that's how they figure out where to go. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that, and we keep kind of focusing on the guy, so I think the dad's gonna have to do something here, because the dad's just like deep in thought of like, what am I going to do? And then all the other parents are freaking out. So he's got to find out a way to get off the planet. I think he's going to try and leave the planet to go after the kids somehow.
And I figured out how I know that dad. I have seen that dad live in concert because that dad is the lead singer of TV on the Radio. A band called TV on the Radio. I was like, I thought I knew who that guy was. He's the lead singer of the band. There's a famous performance they did on Letterman where they're standing outside the theater on the scaffolding playing a song, and they played Winnipeg once, so I saw them when they came here, and so and he literally wears the same glasses when he's performing. Like, that's not a prop. Those are his glasses.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
No
So I was bugging me. And he's also in the I think it's a Jonathan Demme movie called Rachel Getting Married, I think it's called, and that's a good film, and he's one of the lead roles in that too. And also I think Robin Hitchcock, the singer, is in that movie too. So there's some neat musical kinds of things going on, kind of with that actor. And I can't remember that actor's name.
I'm sure someone will tell us.
Yeah.
So then we're going back to the asteroid or wherever they are, this pirate station, and they escape. They do a little sneaking around, which kind of brings me back to the first movie, right? You know, Obi-Wan sneaking around the Death Star, that bring that to mind, and making a noise and distracting the guards and having them come across and that kind of stuff. They got to sneak out, but then they kind of have to walk through the crowd.
Yeah.
Which is a little more difficult. They managed to do it. And then they go back for the droid. Now, my question was, why would he go back? Like, why do you think he would go, not just say to the kids, "No, screw it, we're leaving now," and then hit launch? He doesn't want to piss off these kids, I guess. Is that it?
He will do what it takes to be the guy who finds the treasure.
And that means like placating these kids no matter what?
Well, if he alienates them, he's not going to get his way back to the treasure.
I guess not, eh?
Well, they want to go home though, so he has something that helps them too. But I think it's that simple at this point.
Yeah. I like the line, that's not a thing, that's not a Jedi thing.
Right.
It's when they're trying to figure out that he's not really a Jedi. And then they start fighting. Immediately when he leaves, they start fighting, and that's when I felt the kids fighting was annoying, because the one girl's like, "We need to leave without him immediately." Right. So, but maybe it's also because he knows it's gonna be pretty easy to go back and get him, and then he runs into that old guy. That was also a funny moment when he runs into that other pirate, and they have a nice conversation. The guy has no idea that he's escaped. He thinks he's just hanging out. But I was thinking, like, this is case. So one of the guys who makes this is John Watts, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy who did the Spider-Man movies.
Okay.
Right. He's one of the writers, I think, and the producer and showrunners or whatever. Him and some other guy doing this, which kind of shows like in the dialogue and it's really funny. But I don't know. Did you watch Wolf's? Because his last movie, Wolf's, was very, very bad. Well, I tried watching it. Yeah,
No,
not Movie Plus. Not wolves. No, wolves. They don't know how to pluralize wolf. And it's not good. I watched 20 minutes of it and I turned it off. It was boring. It was like unbelievable. I can't believe, and this is the one that Apple TV famously pulled from theaters. Like it was going to go wide release, and then they decided not to.
I know the way we mean. Yeah.
And so, and they were going to do a sequel too. Apparently, Watts asked for, or gave them their money back. They gave him money to develop a sequel, and he just gave it back to them and said, "No, if you guys aren't going to release it in theaters, I'm not going to work with you anymore."
All right.
So. Anyway, but yeah, that was just, I thought that was interesting. Like the two things like that was, I don't know, maybe it was because of Clooney and Brad Pitt that one was as shitty as it was, but not the same.
Normally, they're very picky about what films they choose. That's why it's weird that
it is
that became a bomb.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it was a very good movie. Okay, so yeah, they get out of there. There's like they have to like escape. There's a fun chase as he has to get out of there. He gets the droid back. The droid doesn't trust him.
I liked his smash up derby flying back to the ship, kind of bumping into. That's kind of fun. And they don't appear to be afraid that in the vacuum of space, they're going to get sucked out. It seems like they're pretty much just like a car in our world. You can just hit a bunch of
and the guys, like, wasn't there a guy on the outside of one of those things shooting at him or something like that? I think that's how they're chasing after, right? Like, it's interesting because we've never really seen a lot of stuff in the vacuum of space in Star Wars, right? They've never done the spacesuit thing. We saw a little bit of it in the Acolyte. What?
Ahsoka walked out in her.
From Ahsoka, yeah, and a little bit in the Acolyte because what's her name was a repair person, but now they're just kind of treating it like any other environment. It's just like put a spacesuit on and they're fine.
That was pretty good, and I love the snapback of that fuel line. That surprised me, actually. That made me laugh out loud. Seeing it snap back and everyone's just watching it. It just starts wiping everything out. Like, boy, it would have been a good idea to make some kind of protection from that happening, as it turns out. So everything's blowing up.
It's a pirate asteroid. They didn't really plan anything as they were building it, I don't think, right?
I love that, but before they go, or right after they leave, that the wolf man who's in charge, I can't remember his name. Oh, yeah. He says put a bounty on his head. So which bounty hunter are we going to see?
I wonder.
Who do you think you know?
Yeah, it's Mando. Mando's going to show up with Grogu, and they're going to go after him.
But Mando doesn't work for pirates.
No, he'll work for anybody. What do you mean for pirates? It's a bounty. He goes to. I mean, it was real Karga. What?
Oh, we don't. Wait a sec. We don't know what time this takes place in the. We know this takes place at the same time of the Mandalorian, but we don't know if it takes place at the beginning of the Mandalorian, toward the end of the Mandalorian.
Well, what did you have in mind? You obviously had something.
I don't know. I like what you said. I'm not sure that I did. I was thinking of it in terms. In my mind, I thought we were in the same place here where we left off with Mando, where he made the deal. I'm going to help. I'm going to help Dave Filoni. I want to help my friend
help the rebels. Oh yeah, one of the rebels, but the New Republic. That's right. Yeah, I guess he's not going to do anybody. But if they said this a little further back, he could just do it before he met Grogu. Maybe they could make this a little bit of a prequel to that.
Well, that's how we'd find out what era we're talking about. That's interesting. Or maybe we do know. I don't know. I have not been paying attention to the behind the scenes discussions or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know if we know exactly when this takes place.
But as soon as he said, put a bounty on his head, I thought Mandalorian. I immediately thought the Mandalorian would show up.
Interesting. Mandalorian. I don't know. Well, it could be Cad Bane if he's still alive. I don't know. Like,
it'd be,
I don't know where we're at. Yeah.
Who's the one that ended up with Boba Fett?
Oh yeah. Fennec Shand.
Yeah. Fennec Shand. Could be her.
Yeah.
Could be, Cobb. Corner of the Cobb bath? No, I'm joking.
Oh, hey, that could be it. Because I'll tell you, we left him back in the chamber that cures everybody of whatever their problem is. So he might be out of there by now.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know who else it could be. Or someone new, someone who we don't know. Like Bosk. Is Bosk still around? Did we kill him?
I bet they are. I bet a lot of these characters are around because they want to bring these characters. It could be, you're right, it could be just like like IG-88 or one of the original like bounty hunters from that scene in Empire Strikes Back, right? One of those 5 guys. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on how much they want to tie it into the movie coming out next year.
Right.
Maybe they don't want to do that anymore. Maybe they're not going to tie it all together like they used to.
I wonder.
Okay, so then they have to go to his friend whose name is Kim, and I put in brackets owl lady. I call her the owl lady because that's what she is. I mean, she's just a woman who looks like an owl.
A cat owl, almost like a cat face.
Yeah, because they didn't want to do the beak hard, so they made it kind of a soft nose. I think is what they did. But yeah, it does look a little cattish in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, she is basically. She reminds me of. Is it Mogra from the Dark Crystal? Remember that cranky old lady that visits in the Dark Crystal? She kind of reminds me with her observatory and everything around her and stuff. And so she's an expert in star charts and maps, and she's going to help them find Adin. And so she's all heard of it. And by the way, we found out that the robot's also heard of AT-AT, and that's another thing that's revealed to us is the robot does know. The robot isn't being completely honest with the kids, hey?
Oh, I didn't. I've only seen it once. I didn't pick that up.
Well, I watched it a second time, and I picked up there was a conversation. I'm not sure what point in the episode this was, but there's a conversation between Jude Law and the robot at 33, whatever his name is, that about AT-AT, and he knows the droid knows what AT-AT is, or at least the legend is, but he's playing dumb for the kids for some reason. I think that's what's happening there.
Oh,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was worried that they were going to go. I thought they were going to go see Maz Kanata. Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
I was worried that I was worried. Because I don't know. I just like let's give that a rest for a while, so I was happy with this character. I was happy that it wasn't that, and I was happy. It's a good character too, and a character that pretty clearly will come back later in the series.
Yeah, I think so. And but I wasn't sure how they left it like, call me whenever you need help. How is she supposed to call her? Can you just like look her up in the phone book in Star Wars, or how does that work exactly?
Yeah, we don't really know, but I mean, maybe because they've already made contact there once from the ship.
Oh, kind of like
there's like there's probably something. Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. And the kids also talk about, at this point, the kids are having their lunch also, and they talk, but on the way there, by the way, and they talk about trying to figure out like what their parents do, which gives us a little more, and I think it kind of follows with your theory about something going on with the planet at and there's something mysterious going on there. They say it's something boring about money, and you see like the credits on the table there. So what do you think it is? What do you think is the planet? It's like some sort of money laundering situation?
No, I think that it's one of the planets that she tells them has been hidden, and it's the only one. I think, does the character say it's the only last surviving one out of all the planets?
They were all destroyed. Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
So that's the last one, and so all those planets probably had some special resource or some reason or some use to be hidden, and this one, the use might be the financial, like to hide the financials from the Empire, maybe.
Right.
To be able to bankroll the rebellion, maybe something like that.
We tied into what Mon Mothma's doing over on Andor.
Yeah, that's right. It could be something like that. It could be, but I don't think we know. Is it the banking planet? Like there's some stuff there that needs to be revealed, and I think will be revealed before the season's over.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, what else? Yeah, I thought, and I've got to say, I really did like this character of Kim.
Yeah, me too.
I liked, she's funny, she's interesting, she's like concerned for the children, and she calls X-Wings to come. Now, I thought we were going to see our friend Kim's Convenience show up, but we didn't see him. It was somebody else.
I thought guaranteed it was going to be him, but no.
Yeah, no. But while they're on their way, she stalls them by looking for AT-AT, and I do like the process of like, okay, guys, it kind of reminds me of in Sneakers. There's a scene in Sneakers where they figure out where Robert Redford's been kidnapped to because he describes the road. Do you remember this scene?
Yeah.
They've got the character who's got like, okay, describe the road to me. Describe, what did you hear? And he describes the sounds of the road so they can figure out where in the city they drove. So this is the same kind of thing. They're saying, what does your planet look like? What is the features of it? Although they didn't do too much of that before they got to, Shield. Oh, okay, it's one of these planets. And then, right. I see your symbol on your backpack. That leads me to this thing. So they had to like do a couple things to get them there a little more quickly. But I like that idea of them like, okay, we have to tell you what the features are in our sky, because that's the only way they would find the planet.
Yeah.
As if they talked about the astronomy of the night sky and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I like that too. I like the character. I liked, hey, and is there anything better than seeing X-Wings come swooping in? That's just the best. I was also, so, and I love the scene where the kids all have something to do. I was worried that they were going to kill an X-Wing pilot a little bit, but then, it all turned out, and I liked Neil at the controls. That made me laugh.
Hey, you, and he's like wiggling back and forth, and
Yeah,
then
he doesn't
get
want it.
mad because she's not doing it.
That's right. But so there, I thought that was really good. You can sort of every episode is creating character growth, which is good. It's actually interesting where they're going. Whereas on the Acolyte, when they'd go someplace, it would just be boring. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care about where they were going. And then when they got there, I was like, yeah, that's right. I shouldn't care because it's boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea, like that. I just wrote down, this is every kid's dream to like get into the turret of just like in the Millennium Falcon, you're getting up there and you're shooting at they're shooting at X-Wings, they should be shooting at TIE fighters, but still, it's still every kid's dream. I mean, the kid who grew up with Star Wars wants to do that, and so it'd be cool, I think, to be discovering this show as a kid and watching this and getting to Star Wars in this way. This would be fun to watch with a kid at the right age, I think. Right?
Yeah.
This is certainly geared towards kids in a lot of ways. I like that.
I think this might be perfectly timed over the holidays for that very purpose. And I do think it could have the impact of getting kids into Star Wars. I don't get the feeling that this show's being streamed widely at this moment, but it could be that people are saving it up, and it could be like Andor, where the high quality, it just takes people a while to get to hear about how good something is before they'll watch it.
I noticed on Disney Plus, it was number 2 after the Inside Out show, which is like the show about Riley's dreams from Inside Out. So that was the
Right.
show. Not doing that well.
Oh boy. I don't think Skeleton Crew, they have the top 20 streaming shows every week, and I don't think it made the top 20 streaming shows, but that was only after the first 2, I don't know how that works. That was only after the first 2 episodes ran that night.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't excited to see the show at all when it launched. Now I'm very excited to see the next chapter. Yeah. When they launched it, I was kind of like, who cares? So it wasn't like a mad rush like it normally is. So I think people will find the show. If it's a good show, I hope, I want it to be good for the rest of the episodes. I think it's only 8 episodes, only 5 to go.
Okay.
At this point. So
probably tell a pretty good story in that time. I like that. I don't think it needs to be that long. Like some of these series are too long, I think, in a lot of ways. So this is a good one. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think people will, like, the word of mouth will spread. People will talk about it. I'll tell people, like, I might even tell my girlfriend to watch it. She's not a fan of Star Wars generally, but she likes like 80s movies and the kind of stuff that they're talking about, and pirates and that kind of, like, she loves the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So this might be up her alley. This has a bit of that feel to it. So I don't know. It's a lot of fun. It's just, it is, and it's something that brings something new to Star Wars, which I really like, right? This is something that we haven't seen before, and it's really, really good.
But it's good writing as well as good acting. It's good writing. That was our complaint about The Acolyte, was like, so not all the acting was up to snuff, but even apart from that, the biggest sin of The Acolyte was the terrible writing and things that's happening because the script said they need to happen. Things that made no sense whatsoever that they just put in the show for who knows what reason. This doesn't have any of those problems. This is just a well-written show. And I think, and the effects are great. I like the creature design. I was worried it was going to be too piratey, but it all really works.
I like the beginning when they see that guy sticking his tentacle out of the cell, they're just like chasing him, like just having fun hazing this prisoner who's got his tentacles sticking out. It is. It's a lot of fun. Now, what do you think they're going to go next? Do you think we're going to get back to Aden? Because he got his like little card with a readout of the coordinates. Yeah. And they're back on the ship and they're out of there. So they're going to get back to the planet next episode, and then they're going to.
I don't think it'll be not next episode. I don't think. I think we know a bounty hunter's going to show up.
Yeah.
there's going to be something there's going to be something around that I'm interested in. I sort of want to see how that's going to play out. I'd be surprised if we're back on At before the last episode.
Okay. I don't know. I think there's going to be something going on with the parents, and we have to follow along with that story as well. So either the dad's going to get off planet and look for them, and then, but I don't know how, like, to me, I'm trying to think of the logical step. They have the thing, they read the coordinates, they go into hyperspace. They should come out of hyperspace at Aten, unless it's the wrong planet, unless they're going to a different one of these other planets that they didn't know was still, existing. They thought it was destroyed, but it's not, right? So they go to this other planet, they find out there's more of these secret planets, and it's part of this bigger thing. Maybe that's where it's going.
Or they return to the planet and it alerts people looking for the planet, bad people looking for the planet, that's where it is, and now they have to do something to defend it. There might be some element of that. Maybe we learn what the planet's for when it is being defended. I mean, that planet could be the good guy's Death Star for all we know.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Exactly.
Could be anything. So I also wonder if they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger, or is this going to be like the end? Like, what's happening here?
I feel like, again, it depends on where this was in production when the Acolyte aired. Yeah, I'm sure that it was already written, because I think the Acolyte would make them a little not trigger shy. What's the word? Camera shy? I don't know. I'm looking for some phrase.
Triggered,
but they would like not want it. Like, they're gonna like keep it. After the Acolyte, they're going to keep these stories close-ended so that you're not going to automatically expect a second season, because they don't want to commit to a second season until they see how well the first season does. That is very common these days. I think that's something that's kind of standard operating procedure with these streaming services. It's a lot different because it costs so much money. It's not like back in the day where it was like, I was watching Baywatch, right, which is a very popular series, but it was so basic to shoot. It was so cheap to shoot that, and they shot it. I have like 26 episodes a season of Baywatch, and they would just keep going. They would like renew it for season whatever because it was so popular. But they're not doing that anymore. It's one season at a time, and if it does well, then they'll commit to another one, but not until then. And I think for Star Wars, they're going to start paring this stuff back because it's been too much.
Yeah, well, there was so much choice. There's so much choice now. There was only so much choice in the past. And in the past, if you got your show on one of the 4 big networks, people were going to see it, and you didn't really, one way or another, it could still get canceled. But it's different now. You can't expect the same kind of mass audience to watch anything except the Super Bowl, really. Those numbers just aren't going to happen again. So it becomes more about something else. I think, for instance, Disney Plus needs subscriber retention. So having new content is important for subscriber retention. The question is, how much money then do you spend on the show? You can't make Star Wars like Baywatch.
Why not? That would be awesome.
There might be some version of that. There could be some version of a handheld camera show or something for Star Wars that would be cheap.
Oh, Canto Bite show. Let's do a Canto Bite show. It's
hell. One of my lead
lifeguards on the beach at Canto Bite.
Oh, that's funny.
Wait. Or the planet where Cassian Andor ended up. There was a beach planet on that one too, where he was on. Remember, he was on vacation, right? So
that's where he got arrested. That's where all the bad news started.
Right. So theories about those patrols out there. Anyway,
that's right. That's good stuff. I want to see that. I want to see that show.
I'm loving Skeleton Crew. It's a lot of fun. It's a great series. I'm looking forward to next episode. Any predictions for next week?
A bounty hunter will show up. That's as far as I'm willing to go.
I think it's going to be Mando.
That's interesting. That didn't even occur to me that it would be Mando. I thought in my mind, I thought Mando could have a cameo on this show, but I didn't think it would be in something like that. But you're right. It could be.
They say at the end of it, they let them go, And then he comes back to talk to Owl Lady and says, no, we can't risk it with the kids. Like, there's something about they don't want to shoot at them because the kids in there and they're being very conscious of it. But maybe now the New Republic will bring in Mando. Maybe they'll come in because he is working with them, as you said, right? So maybe they bring him in, not in the way we would expect the bounty hunter to be brought in, but he is a bounty hunter, right? So he would be good at tracking them down.
Maybe he saves them from the bounty hunter hired by the pirates.
Right.
Maybe it's bounty hunter versus bounty hunter.
Oh, that'd be cool. That would be like a good Mandalorian callback, hey? There we go.
Maybe. That could be very cool.
All right.
Yeah, but although, once again, when a show is good, I get worried about introducing characters we already know. Because I don't want them to upstage the new great characters.
I think they're going to want to do this. They can't resist tying it together. I think what we have to watch out for is distracting cameos from famous celebrities like Jack Black, etc. That can be distracting. So hopefully we don't get a lot of that in this. So far we haven't had anything. You haven't any other famous people except for like
Jude Law, big actor. Yeah,
I know, but he's the star. I'm talking about like when we have like the Jack Black Lizzo situation where it's like famous people making these cameos for no reason. We haven't had anything, and we still get that in The Mandalorian. By the way, we get a lot of like Stephen Root, a lot of well-known actors in the Star Wars stuff. So I like to see that, but I love seeing Urkel. I love that he got another line in this episode too. Yeah, I hope he comes back. I hope that character we can know more about that character. Yeah?
I think there'll be more there for sure.
Okay.
Like I think the difference between like having Urkel play a role like that is much different than if he shows up and he looks like Urkel and he's got like a visor, but he still acts like Urkel. He's got suspenders and high pants and everything else. That would be the bridge too far. I think the reason why Jack Black and Lizzo irritated people is because they were too much like Jack Black and Lizzo. I think if it just showed, if they just showed, it was like guest of the week. Yeah. But if they just showed up and acted in a more character-driven role that was less like themselves, then I think people wouldn't have had so much of an issue with it.
That's actually ultimately what I think is the problem with Wolves. When I think about it, is that it was too much of just George Clooney and Brad Pitt being themselves, and that doesn't work unless there's something more interesting. I guess it worked with Ocean's 11, but it doesn't work for everything. And those two guys, I don't know, it just didn't work for me. But this is working. This is a lot of fun. I think that's about it. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
Do you have any predictions?
I think that we will get back to the planet next episode. I do think that's good. Wow. I don't think there's going to be a lot of delay, and they're going to come into contact. There's going to be something happening because they still have to find the treasure on the planet. There is a treasure. I think you're right about it being some kind of financial hub, or there's some kind of treasure. There's a reason why At Adden has this legend around it, but I think that they are going to have to go on some kind of treasure hunt on the planet itself. And so we're going to have some episodes take place there. And maybe they'll end up going off somewhere else afterwards to go to find something else. But I do hope they get back to At Adden this next episode.
Oh, very interesting. Well,
we'll see.
You said two things that I didn't think that were not on my radar. One is that, and the other one is Mando is the bounty hunter who shows up. So let's see. Let's see what happens. I can't wait.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Dademacher.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you in the ass.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Now I am the master.
I'm taking an awful risk, then.